Welcome to 13. Let's go. So, as I'm getting ready here to go snowboarding, excuse me, for what might be one of the final times of the year. Now, A Basin stays open till early June, and you can go get like t-shirt riding in on a single run. But the season itself has died off. It's been a mild season. But as I get ready to venture, it reminds me that I ride in the backcountry with some people who ski. I snowboard. And I also go with some people who do telemark. Well, the telepart got to me because of telematics. Um, I know that a few markets have seen this for a while. I know a few more markets saw it about a month and a half, 2 months ago. But do you know this week in over 200 markets they rolled out Doordash telematics? Um, so here's the thing: to most people, what is telematics? Now, when I start to get into it, you might go, "Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about." But the word telematics alone, do you know what that is? Okay. Let me start off by saying, like Display Ride, the dash cam that I use, it has a telematics feature that you can turn on and keep private. So because I pay for the service, they don't sell any data, right? Or if anybody pays for the service, you can get you can download your telematics reports and you can take them to insurance companies or whatever that accept. And a lot of the big ones do now: State Farm, Allstate, maybe even some of the Geicos and stuff like that, Progressive. They all will take telematics scores. They need to verify them, but it can drop your insurance rate by 20-25% potentially if you're a 95 score or higher on a whatever amount of timeline they're looking for. So you have to have a good telematics score. Now the telematics in Display Ride, let me be very clear, and then we'll come back to DoorDash. The telematics in Display Ride, because Display Ride is a dash cam that goes out the front and goes out the back, it catches almost 180 degrees complete full scope, which would mean a full 360. So it can catch things on the side. So a telematics score through Display Ride, when you log into your portal, and if you want to, you can print it out too. You can just see it, but you can print it out too. And if you're doing really well with your score, you can take it into an insurance company and get your insurance at least looked at to be reviewed, because they're very interested in how you're driving. The Display Ride one catches things on the side and all kinds of things. Some of the most basic one just catches. I don't know what happened there. I know my face was kind of funny. Excuse me there. But so the telematics score can catch how fast I mean, like, it can get very, very specific. Like, you're riding too close to the lane there. You're going too fast. You're cutting your turns too quick. Your right, your left turns. I mean, very specific. And then it also does accelerating and braking. Those are the two basics of telematics. About a year ago, Allstate, State Farm, a couple others started deploying through the app to use telematics. So you could download the State Farm app or whatever, run telematics on it, and they will adjust your insurance rate to benefit you. They say if if your driving score gets over a certain ratio, and I don't even think they tell you, they just say that. But here's the thing: they look into your driving score and your driving record enough as it is. So unless I mean, I don't want to say everybody's a bad driver, because how do I know, but unless you're like a great, amazing driver that also would show in numbers and stuff, and you're very careful and you can see the score first. But otherwise, I'm very apprehensive to let these apps run these scores on me. I don't want them to, because no data that's ever done on you is ever to your benefit. I know the commercials and the companies make it sound like, hey, this will be to your benefit, but most of you have probably seen an increase in your insurance rates. Am I wrong? Even if you didn't do anything wrong, that's just, we've seen a major dramatic increase in car insurance rates, for us, not just for the companies and stuff, but for us drivers, and not just gig, just auto insurance. So these are all options you can do. You can run it through an app with an insurance company. You can run it through the Display Ride app, and you can see it yourself and submit it only once you feel like your score is good enough to to want to justify it. That's a perk. But we knew about a couple markets, couple more, but 200 more DoorDash markets rolled out this week with telematics. What is telematics on the DoorDash platform? They are metricing how fast you accelerate and how fast you brake. Now, some of you again might have already be familiar with this, even back into I'm potentially into last year, but that was so few markets. I mean, I honestly believe it might have been a sample size of like 10 markets. But a couple months ago or whatever, they rolled out more markets, but they did the big push this week and rolled it out to 200 new markets. Now, my market is not one it's in. I went through the app inside and out. It's not in there. But I have talked to many people, and they're all asking me what it is. What happened? This week it came about. Now, I'd already known. I thought they were fiddling around with this a little bit, but supposedly now in many markets, I was getting hit up with a lot of emails the last 2 days. So I think it was Wednesday that they rolled it out. But now they're evaluating your acceleration and your braking speed. Now, when you click the TOS, the terms of service agreement, you agree to let them sell all of your data. Data farming has become not as lucrative as it once was. People don't want to the companies that wanted data aren't paying nearly as much as they used to for data blocks on you that are just the basic info. That's become so secondhand. It's almost like they could just hire a hacker to go get it themselves. They don't need these databases. And it's such entry level data that was being sold that, I mean, obviously, like everything, it's just died off a bit. So like what used to bring in X amount of dollars now brings in 10 to 20% of that amount of money. Telematics data is worth about 200% of what your data was a few years back. So that's a huge sale that they can make. The problem is that is actually very, very personal information. And even with the TOS and you saying, I agree to this, and I mean, you do, and we're still in a very big debate, and even legislation that's rolling out is not fond of this kind of stuff, but there is going to be an uprising over this telematics. And I can tell you why. Now, I also heard from one person, channel member, by the way, so thank you for that. I appreciate you letting me know that Lyft is evaluating telematics in his market every 2 weeks, I think via through an email. Here's how your accelerating and your braking is going. Okay. They are selling this hopefully anonymously, but period, they shouldn't be doing it, but hopefully anonymously. Who knows? To insurance company, to anybody who wants it, but to insurance company, to car makers, to city planners who want to know traffic patterns and stuff. So they're making a ton of money off this information, and this information should be very privileged to you. Now, I had been told by a few people that you can go into the settings and turn off the summary reports if you are getting accelerating and braking reports at the end of a dash. I was told you can go in and turn it off. However, last night I did a channel members live, and I had some people in there, and one in specific who is seeing the overlay of a driver of their summary every time they end a dash. And so we had a conversation in the live chat about, I mean, I was asking him questions because he sees it. And so he was saying that it's like an overlay. Like when he ends his dash, it basically says, hey, look, here's your driving score, here's your accelerating. And then he was saying something about like a negative 50%. Like, I'm just going, oh my God. Because guess what? Not only is this a huge violation in every state in this country and in federal law, you can independent contractor law in every state in the country and under federal law. This breaks the independent contractor rule, no question. We're not even talking about some of the legislation that's going down about not being transparent and this, that, and the other. They have finally crossed a line that doesn't even have a debate. There's no debate about it. You cannot keep tabs on how drivers are driving that are independent contractors. It's questionable when you do it to a W-2 employee using a company vehicle. But to do it to an independent contractor makes them not an independent contractor. And I already know that there is a huge new push going behind some legislation that was starting to go more in the right direction in terms of more to the portable benefits or the caps on number of drivers that can be out in the market, the things that make sense to you, me, and other people. Like those are ones we can't really complain about because, of course, I mean, it would make sense. Why wouldn't there be a cap? Why would you allow 5,000 dashers when you only need 2,000, and even 2,000 is too many kind of thing? Like New York City. I mean, we know that you can't get over 65% active time in an hour because DoorDash made a public statement that they will throttle you at 65%. Well, so now they're crossing the independent contractor line on a level where in every state and federal law, they can fight this and go, nope, you guys are no longer independent contractors. I had a long discussion about this yesterday with some people. It's actually going to become a huge issue. And so I want to know from all you guys, are you seeing Telematics? Put it in the comments, please. I really want to deep dive into this more this week. So, and I'm going to be talking about it on the podcast and some other things, obviously, but please put it in the comments. I want to know, on DoorDash, are you getting a driver summary, not for earnings, but for your driving, accelerating and braking? And I think it's like a red and green from what I was told in the live chat last night. It's a red and a green or something. I don't know. Again, I don't have it in my market yet. We weren't one of the ones. But do you have telematics? Are you seeing it? When you end a dash, are you seeing a driver, any kind of driver score? If you are, please leave in the comments what you see. If you don't mind, what market you're in, anything that can help me try and get to the bottom of this a little more, because again, it's going to be a huge issue in the fight to remain independent contractors. And that's a problem. That's going to be a big problem. I'm surprised to hear Lyft's doing it as well. I'm sure Lyft is only doing it to try and make a few bucks because they're struggling that bad. But for DoorDash, this is a lot different. They already have too many metrics and everybody's on to them. They're wise and they're over it. But this has now crossed the final frontier line. This ends the conversation if it's pushed to the limit. And therefore, technically, not independent contractors on the DoorDash platform and potentially Lyft. So please leave in the comments about telematics. We'll get more into it. I definitely need to dive more into it, but that's 13 minutes of news in just under 13 minutes. Peace, y'all.